Hey everyone, welcome back to Tuesday Tea. I'm Melissa Levine here with Alicia Baukar Mudrock, and so excited about our guest today. She is one of my dearest friends, and I think a total lifeline in a time of my life where I just like really needed someone, and she just feels like home to me because she's also Australian, and yeah, she's just like my family. And I will let her introduce herself because nobody can introduce her better than her. But we have Meghan Brazier here today, and take it away,
Oh,
Meg.
hi. Well, thank you for having me. And Melissa, I feel the same about you, but also does anyone here know that Melissa, when we talk, she speaks fully Australian accent. Full Australian accent.
I do.
And when I hear her on this
I
and
love
talking to
that.
her like kids and she's full American, and I'm just like, whoa.
You're like,
She's
what's
It's
happening?
very weird. It's a very weird experience, but I can talk, I can turn it on if I have to, either way.
I mean, it's quite
I
quite a
love that.
skill. I mean, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know, but just I thought it was a fun fact. Like
It is.
she's full
It's one
Aussie.
of the harder accents to like
Hmm.
imitate, I think. You know, like it's
Oh,
not like
it's
an easy one. Not that like probably everyone would be like, your British accent sucks too, but I can at least like pretend like I can do that.
no, but
Australian,
no,
no. I have real
Australian is
Australians
great.
laugh at me there trying to do it. They're like, you're terrible. I'm like, I
No,
don't know.
it's very difficult to do well, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, for sure. But anyway, but as you know, Melissa's a native, so she's got it. Anyway, but I just think it's so fun that she does that. But yes, so yeah, Melissa and I met at a time where we both had young twins and life was chaotic and that's how we connected. And yes, she feels like home as well. So anyway, I am so honoured to be here. Thank you for having me, and I'm excited to just share all the things.
Yep, Megan
We're
is
excited.
hailing from Chicago, and I think as we like transition to this September time, it's like kind of like a time to just like ground ourselves in like who we are, and it's like the start of the school year and everything like that. And I think Alicia and I just really wanted to like, we have so many connections with so many amazing women,
Yeah.
and we thought like what better way to like connect and just connect many different people is like hear about your stories, right? And so I'm really excited to hear from you. I think a lot of listeners will really resonate with a lot of parts of your story. But I know that you wanted to speak specifically about kind of like your journey from your professional and personal journey and how it intertwined with kind of taking a leap of faith, moving countries, changing jobs, and really kind of blazing your own trail. And I think redefining maybe like what that professional happiness and success looks like. Yeah, and I think in doing that, you empower a lot of women and just kind of make a lot of women feel like, oh, I could do that too. And so I'm really excited to hear more about that from you.
Okay, well, here we go. So let's start back in the day before when I lived in Australia, and this is pre-kids, and I was a school teacher. I was a primary school teacher, sort of kinder, year one, year two. That was kind of my wheelhouse, and I, promoted to being an assistant principal at my school. So I was, one of the top sort of execs there, and but loved it. Absolutely loved what I did. But then my husband got a job in Chicago. So we decided that that was a great opportunity and that he would take it. And I actually moved to Chicago pregnant, 16 weeks pregnant with twins. So, and we didn't know it was twins until he'd already moved because he moved before me. So he'd already moved, and then we found out it was twins. And so the ball was already too far gone. We're like, well, okay, let's go.
Gotta do this.
And we thought,
Yeah.
oh, we'll just do a couple of years, just whatever, and then come home. Anyway, that was 2014. So we're still here, and I've since had a third. So all my kids are American. And anyway, so for the first 2 years of my twins' life, I was just a stay-at-home mom. I didn't work, and I was pregnant with Piper, my youngest. And that's kind of when I met Melissa. But I hadn't been working, and we'd gone from double income, no kids, back in Australia to one income,
The dink life.
twin toddlers, pregnant with the third. And I remember we were in our apartment at the time when we lived downtown in Chicago, and I wanted this rug, this West Elm rug. I was obsessed with it, but it was like $1,000. And my husband is just like, we're not doing that right now. Like we just don't have, I mean, that cash just to be throwing around on $1,000 rug. And that was for me. I was like, I hate being on a budget. I hate that I don't have extra money to spend right now. This sucks. I want to be able to buy
That's so real.
what I want when I want, not having to ask anybody. So I was like, I've got to find a way to make money. And I literally was just Googling how to make money online, how to make money at home. I had no idea what like network marketing, affiliate marketing, I had no idea what any of that was. But I saw a friend posting something on Facebook about some skincare, non-toxic products that she was using, which I was totally into all that kind of stuff. And she invited me to like this Facebook party, and I went along, and at the end she's like, you know, if you want to make money from home, you can sell these products too. And I was like, oh, that's okay, I'll do that. So I literally joined her, so naive to anything, joined her, and that first month in that company that I joined was very much like a party-based company. This is back in 2016, right, where parties were all happening online.
Like a pampered chef.
Yeah, like that. You know, the company was Beauty Counter, which was skincare and makeup. And anyway, I joined, and I'm a people person, so I really enjoyed getting together with people. I was throwing parties, doing all these things. I was pregnant still. I was 7 months pregnant doing this too, which is crazy when I think back on it. But my first paycheck was $1,029. And I was like, oh my God, I can get my rug.
I can buy the
And
rug.
I bought my rug. And so I bought the rug, and I was then sold on this, whatever this network marketing thing was. I was like, this is cool. I had no preconceived notions about it. And I was just in it. And it wasn't until afterwards that people were kind of like, oh, you're in one of those pyramid schemes. You're in one, you know, whatever. I'm like, huh? What are you talking about? So then I'm like trying to do all this research of what I was in. I was like, no, that's not what I'm doing. Like, this is like, I'm not doing anything illegal. Like, this is a legit business plan. And oh my God, I made over $1,000 from my own home selling these products. Like, oh my God. So I was just sold. I just thought this is the best thing ever. So I went on to do Beauty Counter. Melissa and I did it together for a little while. Had so much fun together doing it. And that is really the start of where my confidence, like as a mother, as a woman, I just grew in confidence so much, because I was putting myself out there. I was talking to strangers. I was doing live videos on Facebook. All these things that, like, I'm I'm an introvert. Like, I'm a quiet, kind of shy, reserved person. And I had to really put myself out there to make money and to grow my business. So it taught me so much. And doing that party model, which I don't do anymore, that model, but at the time, that's what we did, and it worked really, really well. And I learned so much. So fast forward in time, I'm now with another company that is, we do things very, very differently. It's like attraction marketing based. So we're all about social media and branding. And I invested heavily in learning those skills of like how to actually sell, you know, how to build a team without being spammy, without annoying anyone, without doing all those old school strategies. And it's just really blown up. And now I'm, you know, have a huge team, and I get to mentor, you know, I've got over 1,000 women and some men that I mentor on my team. And I'm so passionate about helping them earn that first paycheck like I did, because it literally changed my world. Because I never went back to teaching. I get to teach like a different way, but I'm at home all the time. I'm available for my kids whenever they need me. I've got actually Olive is home sick today. She's got this terrible cough. No problem. Like, I don't have to call in sick. I'm just like, okay, no worries, stay home, whatever, that's fine. And being away from Australia with no family or anyone to help us, it has been a massive blessing that I have created this lifestyle where I can do this, you know what I mean? So that's kind of, in a nutshell, how I got from.
That's beautiful.
Inspirational.
As you were saying about the paycheck and like the West Elm rug, which by the way, it was a fabulous rug. I kept thinking like that this gave you this freedom, right? And I think that freedom is like one of my values. And as you were speaking, I'm like, this is definitely one of your values, right? Like that kind of like independence, that financial freedom. You didn't have to like run it by Andrew. You didn't have to like think about it. You just kind of like did. So, that resonates with me a lot. And it's amazing it's not just the financial part, right? It's like that kind of liberation you were talking about, and just like putting yourself out there and kind of carving out a new way that you were able to like teach and help that part of you, I think, thrive. because I think when you're a teacher, you have something in you a lot of times where you do like that educational part, but like it's like very constrictive, like having to work at a school from this hour to this hour. So you have that part of you that's being met, but you have the freedom, which is I think super
Yeah,
appealing.
I
to a
mean
lot of
that's the
people.
main thing. Even over the money, it's the freedom, the flexibility. Like
Totally.
we just spent. My husband
Yeah.
had an 11-week sabbatical over the summer, so he kind of every 10 years his company gives him that, and
Wow.
we were in Europe for a month, just traveling around. Then we did like a 10-day road trip around America. I went down to Florida for a work conference on my own. Just went for 5 nights. Um, just again that freedom to be able just to, okay, you've got this time off, so do I, because I can take whatever time off whenever I want. Like, not to say that
Yeah.
what I do is easy. I won't put that message out there because it's bloody hard, let me tell you. But I'm like, it's worth it. It's worth it. The way I've
Yeah.
designed it and the way I do it is like, I work hard, but I don't have to work a lot. And I'm not constricted to certain hours. Like, I've got
Yeah.
someone staying at the moment and he's like, oh, what are you up to today? I'm like, oh, I'm doing a podcast at 11. I'll take the dog for a walk and then might go to the shops, get some Trader Joe's. And it's like, I don't have too much going on today. It's kind of a bit of a more flexible free day. And he's like, oh, that's like, sounds really nice. I'm like, great.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I too I own my own businesses, and it is such a nice, like, I'll never go back, right? Because I work my ass off when I want to and to meet my goals, but it's like on my terms and I'm working just for me. And I think it's also something about like that return is all yours. Because I always tell clients who have such like, they work for shitty employees and then they feel all guilt about whatever. And I'm like, this is not your baby, not your problem. Like, you get paid for this much, this thing. It's not like your company and your whatever. So don't do more than they're doing, right? But when it is yours, you can make it whatever you want, and maybe you do work more in some ways, but you see the returns tenfold, right? It's not like you're sharing them or you're making someone else look good,
Exactly.
and it's not like
Yeah.
all your return, all your investment kind of a thing. So it is such a nice feeling. But I had a question because I hear how well a lot of these transitions went, and I know you just threw in there like, but it wasn't always easy. So I am curious, like, do you have a time or a moment where you kind of hit a wall, or there was a big stumbling block, or were you questioned if it was worth it, and like, what kind of got you through those moments too to get to the place that you're
That's
at
a really,
now?
really good question. So, when I was with Beauty Counter, I'd been there with them for a few years and I was so loyal. Absolutely love the brand, love the products, love my team, all of that. But things had started to shift in my sort of last year of being there. Ownership had changed, investors had come in, the comp plan changed, we were earning less, and there was just all these like red flags that kind of kept showing up. And I was starting to like think, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do? And also, I had been learning about using attraction marketing, like not doing parties, not having to like find people, but like using different strategies. And I was trying to implement them in what I was doing, and not everyone agreed with what I was doing, who I worked with. And so it was just hard. Like I felt really like scared though to make any change. I'm like, well, I can't leave. But then I kind of I don't know, it just kind of went on where I was like, maybe I do need to find a company that fits, like aligns with me more. And there was one I had in mind that I'd been watching, and I remember having a conversation with a leader at that company about sort of partnering with her. But then I got completely cold feet because my whole thing was like, what will people think? What will people think of me if I
Yeah.
change? Everyone's going to be like, well, hang on a minute, you said that what you were doing was amazing, like why have you changed? So I left it for like another year. I just was like, nah, can't change, got to keep doing what I'm doing. Oh, I think my internet's gone. Are you still there?
Oh, you're good. We see
Right.
you.
My
hear
thing
you.
is trying to reconnect. So I took another year, and I was just still thinking, and then I got to a point where I'm like, I have to do something. Like I have to make a change here. I just have to do it. And I did. I decided to resign and join another company. And doing that was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, because I had to like ring up lines, ring down lines, explain what I was doing. People were shocked that I was walking away, like absolutely shocked, and it made me feel sick because I just can't stand the thought of people. Like, I'm like a people pleaser at heart. And I was like, I can't stand the thought of people being mad at me or being disappointed in me and then I'm leaving my team, walking away from them, I was like, oh, this is terrible. But then someone told me, like, really resonated with me, is like, if you want to be a really good leader, you want to be able to lead your team somewhere where they're going to really thrive. You're going to be able to help more people, hit their goals, make more money, find that freedom, whatever it is, when you've got a vehicle that supports you better, that you believe in, that you feel more aligned in. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, that's what I'm doing, because I know what the vehicle I'm currently in is not going up. We're going down. I need to show them. And leaders go first, and leaders make the scary decisions. They have to take the first step to show everyone it's okay over here. I promise you it's fine. So I just had to take that first step. And when I did, it was just like this huge sense of relief. On the other side of it, getting through, like after all the phone calls and the tears but launching, the new, you're suddenly like, oh my gosh, why didn't I do this 2 years ago? Like this is, you know what I mean? So it was like a lesson of like, even like a, like a breakup, you know what I mean? Where you're just like dreading, and then you get it done and move on and meet your perfect partner afterwards. You're like, oh my God, imagine I never did this.
What was I doing over there?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So true.
Yeah.
I'm hearing you say too, like at some point you have to like check in with yourself around like your values, and it sounds like at some point it became that beauty counter or whatever you were working. It doesn't really matter for the sake of the story. Whatever you're doing, if it's not aligned with your values or if it's not serving you in the way that you need it to, it's okay to like let things go. And I think hearing both of you speak about just like, I think it's quite revolutionary and quite what's the word? Like it's radical for women to write their own stories this way. And like we've been socialized a lot of times to not take risk and to just sort of do the status quo and to people please and to not really like give what we need or want like much value. And I think that it's so empowering for other women to hear women do that and normalize that and say like, you don't have to keep doing something you've been doing because you need to be loyal to a company or a person or anything, right? Like at some point you do need to just check in with yourself and like decide whether this is serving you, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a career. And I understand that like that's a privilege to be able to say, like sometimes you just have to do a job because you need money, and so I want to acknowledge that. But I think there are moments even in our day-to-day lives where we can make those small moves of like, hold on a second, do I actually want to do this, or do I, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's really, it's a great message that I think more women need to hear, and I think we need to have these conversations. So I just wanted to like, affirm both of you in that and like acknowledge that. I think that's really, really special, but like in a really radical way, and I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I think we have to remember that like we have choices. We're lucky enough to have choices, and I will say, like, in terms of being an entrepreneur, doing whatever type that looks like, I myself couldn't have kept going in those early years if it wasn't for the support of my husband with a very stable job. Like, I'm so thankful for corporate salaries because he kept me going.
So we can all spread our wings and fly.
Like, he kept me going on the down months. And I always tell people, like, if you're like, you're desperate for money, right? You're like, I want to make money. Now, it's so easy, especially for network marketers, to be like, come join my team. I'll show you how to make money. But I'm like, I always say to people who are like, if you're desperate for money, I'm like, go get a job. Go get a job so that you have a steady...
Go to Costco, Starbucks. They pay well.
Get a steady income. I want you to pay your bills without worry, right? And then build a network marketing business on the side and build that up without the stress, without the pressure, without the desperation, because you've got the salary coming in to just keep things rolling. Luckily I have a husband who could do that. But if you're single, you don't have that, like, You do the job, like you have that salary coming in,
Yep.
build it on the side, and get your network marketing to a point where maybe you can drop to part time in your job, and then maybe
Right.
you get to a point where it like takes over. And you know what? Some people love their full time corporate jobs as well, and that's good too. So some people don't want to quit, but I think it's just really important to remember that like we do have choices, and not to kind of jump into an opportunity if you're like, oh, I'll just do this because I'm going to go make all this money. It's like it takes a while to get to a point where you're making very residual, consistent like pay in network marketing anyway. I'm same with like affiliate, but you've got choices to keep doing what you're doing, but look at what could I add in? What's my future look like? What's my vision? And you've got to make that choice today. If you want to make changes, you've got to decide today how only you can do that. Like only you can make the choices for what's going to happen down the track. So
Yeah.
I also, from when you were speaking earlier, I think another really important takeaway and message is like we need to stop living our lives for everyone else. Because the amount of times I have felt it, and I have clients or friends who feel like I have to stay at this job because of the client. Like I was a therapist with traumatized children, so there was always gonna be someone who I felt needed me, right? But I'm a good therapist, but I'm not the only one who can do my job. Insert it person X. Like again, it's not just me. Or well, they need me, or I don't want to disappoint people. And again, it goes back to like, but at the end of the day, they're not going to do that for you. Like the powers that be, capitalism runs the way it does. They don't give a shit about you. So like that client will find someone, that person will get something. You might still be the best employee that ever worked there. Sure, maybe someone will replace you, but like they will go on, right? Like I think we sometimes give ourselves too much credit on one way, or we take on too much responsibility for things that truly are then meaning we are not going to live our own lives or be responsible for our own selves. And it's like when you look back when you're 80, what do I want to say? Oh, I was like such a good employee and such a good therapist for so many people, and like good for them, and I hated my life. Or do I want to be like, wow, look at what I did, and still could be a good employee to myself, and could also be a good therapist, entrepreneur, except whatever you're doing. But I think we just don't give ourselves permission to like live for us instead of feeling like we have to live for everyone else and what they need. And someone will always want something from us. We just have to decide if it's fitting with what we want for ourselves too. And sometimes it's not going to, and that's okay. It's not bad.
So true. I don't hear any men being like, oh, like what's someone gonna think? Oh. They're just like, they just decide and they just do, and no one's like saying anything. So like I think it's hard for women, I think, sometimes because we're sort of overcoming not just our own internal things. Like we've been sort of socialized in a lot of ways to, especially in certain professions and things, to like internalize other people's pain and suffering and like take that on. So I think it's really important to note that, like I heard someone say like, the ink on your death certificate wouldn't be dry and your job will replace you. Like remember that when you're doing your job. And I think that's so important. Like I had that moment, you both know that I worked at a school for many years, and I felt like same thing, like people needed me, like the kids, the teachers. It was a really kind of toxic place to be in a lot of ways, and like I was like the one thing for so many people. And I just got to that point where I had this experience where I literally tried to go from the bathroom to my office, which was maybe like 10 steps, like no joke. And no fewer than 10 people like called my name in that 10 steps. And I had a panic attack when I went into my office. And I just said like, this is enough. Like, and at some point, I'm not a bad person if I decide to like be loyal to myself and be loyal to what is making me okay and what's making me feel whole and well. And like, yes, at the end of the day, I do need to make money. And so that has to factor into my decision. But truly, like, it is not worth it if you're so miserable that you can't, that's just not tenable. And so I think that's a message that a lot of people need to sort of hear. Other people, I think the more we talk about it, the more we do these things, the more other women feel like emboldened to also like take, do some of those things. So I think that's really important in talking about this.
Yeah, and you know what makes me so mad is how many women especially just keep watching and just, they're too scared or just won't make that decision because I couldn't, or one of my high school friends going to think. And I was talking to someone the other day who reached out to me going, I've been watching you for ages. I really feel like I want to do what you do, like what you teach me, and these are the reasons why, and I want to get out of my job and blah blah blah. And I was so excited for her to do this. And then next day, I'm following it, like, hadn't heard from her for a couple of days, and I did a follow-up, like, hey, you still, like, where are we at? And her family had got in her ear and told her that she shouldn't do it, and it wasn't a good idea, and that did she know what she was signing up for, and blah, 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 so she decided not to. And I see it so many with families or spouses, and it makes me so angry, actually, that they are not letting you make your own decision. Like, you're a smart person, and that's what I've been so thankful with my husband from the very beginning. Not once has he ever said, are you sure? What is this thing? Or he's just been so like, you go, oh, like, whatever you want to do, I'm here. Like, oh,
he is the best.
And a lot of women on my team, their husbands are just so unsupportive, and it makes me so sad, Yeah, it's really bad.
It is sad. It's sad that we prioritize other people's voices more than we prioritize our own voice. And it's not to say that, like, you're not going to want input from people that matter, but at the end of the day, your voice should be the loudest, most important voice. I believe that, because at the end of the day, you're the only one that has to live with everything actually, right? Like, yes, it will affect certain people, especially if you do have a partner. I acknowledge that your decisions will potentially impact them financially or time away from them or whatever. But yeah, I think there's a lot to say about why we put more importance on other people's voices.
I think, like, we need to be more selfish as women. We need to be more selfish, to be honest, like, with our health. Going to work out, like so many women, I don't have time to work out, I don't have time to eat healthy, I don't have time to start a business because I've got to, like, deal with the kids, and I've got to, like, always be around. And I'm like, I've always been an advocate of, like, my priority is number one, like, my health comes before anything. Like, I've got my like, every day I find the time, I get up early and I work out, and eating well, and taking trips away. Going on girls' trips, like going away, having time away from my family is literally the best thing I can do for my family. Like, if they want the best of me, they need to let me go have a break. And I just think so many women are so selfless, and they need to be more selfish and be like, no, I'm doing this for me, because that makes me a better person. So,
or even in that example you gave of that individual, like, it shouldn't have ever been like she went back to ask permission. It should have been like she went back to tell them what she was up to. Maybe there was some opposition or hesitations, and like, okay, I'll take it into consideration. But it sounds like she went back for permission, not to tell what was up, right? And again, it's all fine lines when you're in relationships, when you have families with children, when you have other folks who you are negotiating shared things with, then there should be conversations, but a conversation is different than asking for permission, right? And so I think, like, that's the framework, is like, in this very stereotypical example, like, the husband's like, I'm gonna go for my run now, and everyone just, you're staying with the kid, okay, that's happening, versus, can I go to Pilates today? Like, why is it that we already just approach some of these already lopsided? It should be like, I have a Pilates class tomorrow at 9. Okay, you have your run at 11. Cool, great. Like, that doesn't, whatever. But I think, like, we ask questions, and we just, in general, as women, we do it a lot anyways. Like, everything's like, do you understand? Is that okay? Like, why is the female voice like that? Because we ask questions instead of just stating. And I think the more we feel confident, empowered, and aligned, we can state. And there's still room for negotiation. There's still room to say why that might not be the best decision, and maybe there needs to be a compromise. But it's not a question, like, giving that away. It's bringing it to the table like a business proposal, right? Like, versus like, you're my boss, can I have time off? Like, that kind of.
Not giving our power away. Yes, you're engaging in conversation. I think that's so important, and I think that you bring up a great point, Meg, about you do really need to have a partner, if you choose to have a partner, that supports you and is able to, like, grow with you, and, like, having had an experience where that was not the case, and I don't feel like I felt supported in a lot of ways, having that is like now I know that's like a non-negotiable for me. Like I won't be in a partnership where I don't feel like. Eric actually just recently told a friend of his, he's like, the best thing about Mel and I's relationship is like we let each other just like be who we are, and like yes we will like weigh in, or like yesterday I was like, I really don't think you need to get a haircut every 2 weeks. Like I to me that's like a waste of money. But like I know you're gonna do what you're gonna do at the end of the day, so like I'm saying my piece, but like I also just let him do that because at the end of the day, like that's his prerogative, right? So there is something to say about no matter what your choices are, if you have a partner that isn't aligning with you or affirming you or supporting you, it makes it really difficult to really live your authentic life when you don't have that. And so I think that's why it's so important to check in with yourself and make sure that values, jobs, partners, friendships are aligning and sort of not that you have to agree with everything, but that they are like supporting you in like the trajectory that you want your life to go, and not just like weighing you down, you know?
And I think a lot of it as well comes from misunderstanding of the spouse or the person. They just don't get it. They don't understand what you're doing, or they've heard terrible things from Aunt Mary who did something back in the day, and so a lot of it is just not understanding. So I often tell people who feel like their spouse is negative or whatever. I'm like, have you actually had a conversation with them to explain why this is important to you? What you're doing is not an illegal pyramid scheme. Educate, but why you want to do it? Why is this important to you? Is it for you to have your own thing and just being in community with some other women? You want to contribute financially to the family. Like, what is the reason for you doing this? And I think sometimes all we need to do is explain and have this conversation of like, look, I'm not going to ask your permission to do it, but I would love your support because this is why I want to do it.
Right.
So I think sometimes we have to give the spouses a bit of benefit of the doubt and know that sometimes they're just coming from a place of protection, and I don't want you getting mixed up in the wrong things and doing whatever. So I think having that confidence to explain and just to be like, this is what I'm doing, this is why, here's a bit more about what I'm doing so it's legit, and I'm just here to ask for your support because this is what I'm going to do. The end.
Right.
That's really
Very
great
well
advice.
said.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I know we could keep talking about this forever and ever, but is there anything before we wrap up that you just wanted to like leave everyone with, like maybe like a little takeaway? I know you've given us so many good things, but if there's anything you want to just leave everyone with.
Yeah, I think the word that is like kind of my word of like always been my word is just that making a decision. You can make a decision every day of the week to change your life, right? And in that one day, it's not going to change in a day, but like the decision you make today is sometimes all it takes for the whole trajectory of your life to change. Just don't sit back and keep watching and wishing and thinking, oh, I could never do that. Or, when I started, did I have experience? Did I know what I was doing? No, my first live video, I didn't even realize the screen was sideways, so everyone had to watch me like sideways on Facebook Live. No, I didn't. But I grew and grew every single day.
Yeah.
Kept showing up, and looking back, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so proud of myself for saying yes and just to be open-minded. Be open-minded. Don't be all negative Nelly and like, when people are mean on social media or say negative things to you, I'm like, all that means is that no one who's doing better than you is going to look down on you, right? It's the people who are too scared to make changes, don't like that you're there trying to do something better with your life. Like, those are not the people that you listen to, right? You listen to the people who are where you want to be, and you'll never have a millionaire, someone successful, say anything negative about what you're doing. They will encourage you. They will cheer you on. But if someone's got something negative to say, it's because they are stuck where they're at and they'll never change. And they don't want you.
Yeah, they're probably jealous.
Yeah, they don't want you to change and do better than them. So they'll just try to keep you like down. So all you have to do is make that decision of like, well, I don't want to stay like this. I don't want to stay stuck. I've got big dreams. I've got big goals. And if you believe, you could believe in yourself. Like I know I can do this. I just need to learn, because it's all skills. You don't have to have influence. You don't need to have anything special. Right. It's all skill-based. Building influence and building a brand is all skill-based. and you can learn
Right.
how to do it. You've just got to make the decision to start. So just stop sitting and watching and just go do it.
Yeah.
Go do it.
Yes. You don't need any more training. Dive in.
Exactly. Stop just
Like,
watching and
yes.
watching. I'm like, just
Yes.
Well, you heard it here, everyone. Stop sitting and watching. Get up and do it. If you're
Do it.
listening, get up and do it. Megan, is there anything you want to share, like what you're doing right now, or how people can get in touch with you if they, want to hear more about what you're
sure.
doing?
So look, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Those are my two kind of main platforms. Instagram is just at Meghan Brazier, and Facebook, you can put my link. It's facebook.com/meg.brazier. But if you contact me on any of those platforms, like I have a free coaching community for network marketers who want to learn attraction marketing. So I have a free Facebook group. So if you're like, I want to just kind of learn a bit more about how to, if you're already in network marketing and you're like, I want to learn how to do this in a way that is going to attract more people to me. I have my Facebook group. I have a lot of free resources, all the things in there. And then, I'm part of a network marketing company. If you're looking for a mentor and a leader that's going to help you grow and build, then you can ask me about that as well. So, wherever you're at, even if you have zero experience, influence, I love building up leaders from scratch. That's like my favorite thing to do. And I just want everyone to win. I want everyone to earn money and freedom and have all the things that they want. And I've been there, and I'll show you how I did it. So that's kind of,
I love
I
it.
love that.
yay.
And
Thank
there's
you so
enough for
much.
everyone.
It's been
Yes.
a joy, as always.
Oh,
Yes. Thank you so much. I know people are going to get a lot out of this.
thanks for having me.
And we will see you all
Yeah.
next time.
Okay, thanks.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.